The second meeting of the SELA board occurred in Miami on January 11, 1998. The board had expanded with the inclusion of Diane Becker and Betsy LaForge, who along with Terry Thomas and James McKinney provided great resources outside the community of MDs. The minutes reflected some progress on all designated objectives, but most time was spent on development of new funding sources and the planning of the upcoming symposium and meeting to be held later that year. The Southeast Lipid Association's first annual scientific forum was held on Amelia Island August 14, 1998. 120 health professionals were in attendance, and 9 pharmaceutical companies supported the conference, completing a very successful meeting with a positive balance of funds. The National Lipid Association was organized in November of 2002 with the adoption of bylaws and the formation of a board of directors with officers.
During my term, the most important decision that the organization made was one that changed the structure and scope of the Southeast Lipid Association. We had been working with a support group that functioned basically as a conference organizer, a group allied closely with Park Davis and Pfizer. We knew that we had to look for someone who could be an association manager and someone who would be more independent of the original sponsors. I was sitting next to Tom Sullivan, who heads up Rock Point Broadcasting, closely affiliated with the American Heart Association. Tom told me about a young man who had done a tremendous job with the American Association of Clinical Endocrinologists. Of course, this was Chris Seymour. He had brought that organization to great prominence within a few years. Chris Seymour has one basic philosophy, and that's to hit the beach running. Within a year, the Southeast Lipid Association was incorporated, had a website, had a newsletter, and was well on its way to becoming a successful organization, laying the groundwork for the subsequent success of the National Lipid Association.
Chris Seymour had quietly established the legal structure for the NLA. At the time, the only indication that a national organization might be possible was the growing membership of lipidologists from states outside the defined limits of SELA.
The creation of NLA has been extremely important and brought a much needed focus in the management of lipid disorders and in the identification of lipid disorders, in the diagnosis of lipid disorders. I think that was a very, very much needed focus because there is a tremendous epidemic obesity, there is a tremendous increase in metabolic and cardiovascular risk due to the epidemic of obesity. About 50% of our population and 50% of the Western world requires in reality some management of lipids or dyslipidemia in order to address obesity and risk factors associated with it. And I think a society to engage on advancing the knowledge, both the knowledge of the disease and the knowledge of management was essential. And I think NLA does it.